Hello and welcome to Sketch-A-Day Live Recap, where I show you how to draw this gramophone record player thing. It's holographic. We had fun doing it, and I hope you enjoy watching. If this is your first time joining Sketch-A-Day Live, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on alerts, because you don't want to miss when we go live 3 times a week. Wednesdays 4 p.m. Pacific, Fridays 9 a.m. Pacific, and Sundays somewhere between 12 and 2 Pacific. If you want to support Sketch-A-Day and what we're doing here, one of the best ways to do that is hit up the store at sketchaday.com, where we have posters, stickers, and even downloadable content like my Procreate brushes. Come say hi on the socials. I'm at sketchaday.com on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter at Daily Sketches, and I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook, so check that out as well if that's your jam. Let's see if we can just freestyle this one. But you wanted it futuristic. I wonder if we could do like a future slash, let's see. If we could do a future slash steampunk type thing. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. So kind of like I do on the stream sometimes with just the raw pen, I'm gonna try and freestyle this one. Avoid overlaying, that kind of thing. I can change the size of the paper though, which is nice. Or maybe it is just a more modern gramophone. I don't know. We'll just do something. Around the corners and all that good stuff. Let's see. Where does this connect to? That's the open question here. Maybe this rolls into the side. Alright, yeah, I'm kind of liking where this is going. So, some sort of gramophone that has a modern or maybe even futuristic twist to it. Let's see, in the future, what are we going to have in the future? Augmented reality, holograms, things like that. There's no reason to make this hover, although I probably could. Once again, welcome to Sketch-A-Day Live. Thanks for being here. This is a request from Svetlana, one of our Patreons, to do something of a... Okay, I lied. I'm going to erase a little bit. Something of a futuristic gramophone. If you don't know what this is, I had to look it up too to get a better sense. Alright, so this is the tricky part, I guess. There's a needle, and I'm not sure what that looks like. So let's go ahead and terminate our little tube here. How do I want to terminate this tube? Let's see. Just a quick check. Okay, something. Yeah, I'm just gonna fudge it. Is that a 3D printer with a round base? Most certainly not. Svetlana wanted a modern or futuristic gramophone, so that's what I'm doing here. All right, just working on the line work a little bit, still keeping it loose. And now, I guess on the front, what if it projects the music? Oh yeah, that's cool. Maybe there's like a little emitter here or something, and it's projecting. I don't know. I'll figure out how to fill this in, but maybe it is projecting a music video. I like that. That's a great idea. It's a very, very good idea. So thank you. Man, I'm like so excited. My friend Paul Sohi, he's making some beats for the channel. It cannot come soon enough. Just because I've been listening to this stuff for so long now. So long. I mean, ideally this thing would be like projecting three-dimensional characters, but I don't want to do that right now. I really don't. Oops. So I know it seems weird rotating the canvas, but it's a lot easier for me to do that now than rotate the Cintiq on my desk, particularly as I don't have a ton of space. But yeah, this is the ballpoint pen. Like I said, it has some texture to it, but more importantly, the build-up. It's really nice. Alright, I'm gonna do a little trick here. So I drew one ellipse that looks pretty good, so now I'm gonna transform that ellipse and just place it. Granted, it's done by freehand. So now I can duplicate that ellipse and then just move it down to get the thickness I'm after here. If I want it a little wider, I can do that too. erase what I don't need. But it looks a lot better than some other ways to do this. Let's add some shading on the rim here. I think we'll have some time for some color as well on this one. Keep it simple. All right, and I want to erase the back side of this ellipse. All right, Roshan, take care. Yeah, holographs would be cool. Maybe I could do some sort of holographic waveform. I could do that. Maybe the waveform, you know, like I'll just sketch it real quick. So maybe it's, you know, some sort of projection like this. I don't know, some sort of color thing. I'll figure it out. But that could be cool. Maybe, maybe not. All right. So the last thing I want to do here now is clean up the shape of our little opening here. So I'll just erase some of these lines. And I'm going to use that trick again where you sketch the best ellipse you can and then just use that. All right. I'll show you a couple tricks as well. So let's say I have this kind of rough sketch here. I could try and, you know, complete it, but I like a good fast ellipse. So let's make a new layer. And now I'm trying to get as good an ellipse as I can. That one's pretty good, but all right. So I'm gonna go with this one. So now I can transform, scale, and place this where I need it. Now it might not be the right degree, so if I hold shift, I can drag this to where I want it to be, like so. Just like that. And now I can duplicate and transform to get some thickness. I can duplicate again, transform. If I have some sort of surface change, for example, on the inside, I can do that. Surface or texture, whatever the case may be. I'll just make it really light. Yeah, I don't like those waveforms, after all. Do you have Wacom Studio Pro? As far as I know, there is a 3D scanning feature. I do not have the Studio Pro. I mean, no offense to you guys. I hate Windows. I absolutely hate Windows, so there's no way I'm using one of those unless they get bought by Apple, and yeah, that's not gonna happen. So I don't know exactly what I would use it for. I suspect 3D scanning is coming soon to mobile devices. Like, there are rumors, and the new iPad Pro has a LiDAR sensor, so, which is essentially a laser projection system, meaning much like Face ID, where it projects a bunch of dots and it actually creates a 3D map of your face. I don't think we're that far off from that being like a standard feature on mobile phones. So at that point, yeah, you could just 3D scan anything you want. It doesn't have to be tied to a specific device, right? So that's what I anticipate happening, but we'll see. All right, just fix that curve a little bit. clean up. So that's why I don't use the SolidWorks. I mean, it's a reason. It's part of it. I wouldn't say it's the reason. All right, so now we're gonna take a similar approach to what I did with that first land train, and I'm gonna go with brass. I've done a lot of brass lately on the channel. Why stop? Why stop now, right? Why stop? Okay, let's get our base colors in. Okay, that was set to multiply. Let's make sure our settings, okay, good. Settings are good. I think I'll use the markers to do the highlights on this guy. And the arm, probably do black or something like that. Okay, that's good. So when I'm rendering or doing digital stuff like this, I like to just block in those colors first. Okay, these are all my materials. So 3-step process, identify all your color breaks. Okay. Clean up where you can. And then we're gonna do highlights and shadows, and then any special effects on top of all that. So that's how I like to do it. If there's something that's the same color, we can just group those together on the layer just by association like this. If I want a lighter or darker gray, I think I'm gonna go darker gray for this tabletop. Just create a perimeter. I'm holding shift. That just gives me a straight line where I need it. Now I can fill this in, move the layer order, and now that's behind. And then for the base here, I'm trying to think. We could do some wood, right? We can make this warm. Do some wood. What kind of wood? Let's see. How about walnut? I actually like SolidWorks. I just wish it weren't so expensive. It's crazy expensive. All right, let's find a good texture here. One that I want to use anyways. How about Home Depot? I can steal that image, or I could take this one. I wonder if this is free. Let's see. Oh, that's good, Svetlana. I'm glad. I hope you guys are liking it. Your iPads. Do I have to buy this? Yeah, I do have to buy it, so I'm not gonna use that one. So let's see if we can find another free one. I mean, truth be told, I could just take a picture in my house of some wood and use that, but let's just find one real quick. And let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna copy this image, and now I can paste that, transform it. And just to make this easy, let's go ahead and create a quick mask. I don't usually use masks, but in this case, I think it'll be faster. So I'm just gonna mask off these 2 walnut layers. So mask, and then I'm gonna mask and unlink the 2. All right, boom. So there we go. And if that's too dark, it's okay, we'll lighten it up. No worries there. No worries at all. I'm probably gonna go another 10 minutes here, I think, to finish this one up. Copy says, yeah, I understand why. We've been using Apple's a few years, and thanks to your reviews, and absolutely agree, Windows feels odd after Mac usability. That's true. I've just been using them for so long, it feels weird to kind of go back. All right, so I'm just lightening up the walnut here a little bit. Truth be told, the side it's not that weird, but if you're worried about the texture wrapping, in this case, I'm gonna do a little trick here. So I'm gonna take a selection of this walnut texture. I'll zoom in so you can see. And now, when I hit transform, I have this option at the top of the window to warp. Okay, so now I can kind of pull and manipulate this so it feels like this texture is wrapping. Now, because it's going to be on the corner and somewhat obscured, I can get away with that, right? Just like that. So now I have my texture that wraps. If you're worried or concerned about the bottom here, you can kind of do the same thing, right? So you can either do liquify or warp. I like to do warp. It's faster on my machine. So just zoom in. And now I'm just gonna push and pull this texture. Try and, you know, be somewhat careful with it. I think there's an option for grid lines. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Warp. There used to be grid lines. I don't know where they went. Oh, interesting. Ah. Okay. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've used this one. So let's see. Let's see if liquify works. Filter, distort. I think it's, oh, there it is, liquify. So it's gonna load up this little area, and now I can kind of just pull the texture along the bottom. Hit OK. Is that the section? Oops, my bad. Let's try this one more time. I think what I need to do here is, I'm just gonna duplicate that, now go back to liquify. This is the little area. Oops, I'm like super zoomed in. Okay, and now I'll just, oops, just kind of pull this texture along, like so. It's probably too much, so let's take the pressure down. All right, hit OK. There we go. And so now I have a texture wrap on the bottom, okay? Again, all my highlights and stuff that are gonna go on top of this will mask and hide a lot of what's happening. Okay, so now we have our solid colors. Make a selection. Just make sure you're working above all your color stuff. I'm gonna use a gradient. Just kind of hit this, so now I have some surface definition there. On this far side, I'm gonna make a selection something like this. And then, on a new layer, hit this with a gradient. Like so. So now I have 3 values in my scene, just like that, super fast. On top of all this, I can take my highlighter brush that I created, that you guys will soon have access to. If you've been a Patreon for more than 2 months, I will be sending you, or you're at Tom and Svetlana's level, I'll just send you these for free. So as a show of appreciation, if you like to use Photoshop. It's kind of what I did last time with my Procreate brushes and Patreon. So there are perks. There are perks. All right, so let's use this air highlighter. Just kind of hit this edge. Hit this far edge as well. Get some shadow core in, contrast where we need it. And if I change this to multiply and back off the opacity a little bit, I should have a little bit of a round there. Because it is sitting on a surface, okay, you're gonna get some reflected light. So on a new layer, zoom in so you guys can see this. Just gonna hit down here. A little bit of a highlight, same thing on the side here. Okay, because it is sitting on that flat surface. So this is how you can quickly just bang out some shapes, okay? So here, let's make a selection, roughly like so. I'm actually going to transform this selection. So select, transform selection, so you can actually come in and tweak your selection if you need to. Super handy. So I've got that. So now, let's go ahead and use a gradient. I'm going to make this a radial gradient. Start from the inside, like so. Just kind of hit that and then back off the opacity, okay? Oh, nice, you have AstroPad as well. I haven't been using it so much lately just because I have the Cintiq. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna use a marker for the little cone here and some of the shading. And I think we're to a point where I can do that. So, new layer, let's switch to our blacks and whites. And for my brush, scroll down to my marker here. Okay, so now I can just quickly shade, add some tone. Are you an illustrator or designer, Svetlana? What do you do? I'm curious. If you don't want to say here, that's fine. We can chat on Patreon as well. So just using this marker brush with a little bit of white and black on top of everything. Those highlights in. Again, contrast is your friend, so don't be afraid to use it where you need it. So there is a brush I've been playing around with. I'm gonna see if it'll actually work here. It's this contour marker. And it's a little bit different in that I get an automatic gradient along the lines. So I'm wondering here if it might be good for these. Yeah, it's nice for these reflections. Because you get a little bit of that fade going. Oops, wrong button there. Let's see, brush. I feel like I'm starting to feel it, the fatigue. I do want to try and do a 24-hour stream. Not 24-hour, but like a 12-hour stream one day. But then every now and then I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do it. It would be fun though, just like, you know, sit here and just draw all day. Play music, talk. Maybe I could do it for charity. That would be interesting. Or some cause. Alright, so I'm going to take this brighter yellow and I'm going to switch this to linear dodge add, which is going to hopefully give me some nice highlights here. There's not really a tried and true method when it comes to this, so I'm just kind of making it work here. I do need somewhat of a gradient in the middle of all this, right in here. Yeah, like that. But we can play with the opacity, maybe do another layer. Oops, I do want to erase a little bit. Yeah, this is really weird. I gotta figure this out before I release these. You know, why can't I erase with certain brushes? Doesn't really make sense. Yeah, see, it just did it again. So, okay, eraser soft should work. Here we go. Okay, so I want to do some reflections on the inside as well. We'll just overpaint. Get some white in here as well. Key to doing a lot of this, again, is just paying attention to what you see and seeing if you can replicate that. Oops, that was the same layer. I didn't want that. Sometimes I like to just hit things once and then I can transform the selection and place it where I need to. It's a lot easier than having to paint it, and then you can kind of warp the selection if need be as well. So super handy if you're just trying to hit a certain spot. I know, I promised this would be fast. Let's wrap it up. Probably Lord of the Flies situation out there with my kids right now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and mask. Like I said, I don't usually use masks, but here's an instance where it kind of makes sense. I can play with things. Kind of play with things and go back and forth till you find what works for you. Hey, aka Ninja, I thought I answered that one earlier. I believe my answer was those are all great programs, and it really doesn't matter what you sketch with or work with as long as you like what you're using. So that would be my answer. Just find something you like, stick with it, get really good at it, and then branch out. Sometimes it depends on where you're working too, and what software they have. You know, that certainly influences things a bit. This brass is giving me grief today. Give me just a sec, guys. We got this. I think I need to actually use something more of a warm tone here. And then let's see if we can just create some blends, bring back out some light. Just playing with some blending modes here. Alright, let's stick with overlay. Because I kind of like that glow I'm getting. Doesn't it make more sense if you shade with a color rather than black? It depends. If you know exactly what you're doing, sure. If you want to be able to change things later, it makes more sense to use blending modes. Because what if I decide I want this gray, you know, or red or something else? That's a lot harder to make those changes. So I much prefer working in a non-destructive way, which means I have that base color and then I tweak the color. But if that works for you, then, you know, you can use that method for sure. Whatever gets you there. All right. So take this soft airbrush, then just keep playing with it a little bit here. I think I'm hesitating too much, so I'm just gonna go for it. Paying attention to how you feel while you draw is also a thing. So if you're not feeling confident, sometimes that does show through in your drawing. For sure. But I appreciate the suggestion. If you've been watching for any time, one thing some of you know is I do appreciate learning. I'm not one to pretend that what I'm doing is perfect. So we kind of learn together, figure things out. If you caught my CAD stream, you may have picked up on that. You know, just kind of figuring out some stuff together, just totally fine. Eventually you get to a place where it works, and that's what matters. But like I said, if you know why it worked, why certain things work a certain way, then it helps you create strategies. That would actually be a good class. drawing strategies, but it helps you create strategies on how to put together that final drawing. Let's get a little bit of light play. On this surface, just a little hint of that yellow. Okay, that's sitting on top. I'm gonna recover this sketch line as well on the very top layer. We kind of painted over it a few times, so I want to recover this. Okay, just a little bit here, very light. Woo! Okay, so that took forever. So now I need to do some sort of holographic thing, and then at the same time, let's just do kind of my ground effects that I typically do. I'm just gonna throw in some sort of reflection here, make that really light, shadow. It's enough to hint at a shadow, but not be a real shadow, like so. And then now I can do my waveform. So for the waveform, what I want to do, at least what I'm thinking in my head, I do need to use the pen tool in this instance. So how about we just make a new document? And we'll just draw a shape. Let's see. Okay, like this. We'll just make some wave shapes. I'm not being too precise here. All right, so something like that. Now if I go to paths, I'm gonna pick this work path. Oops. Pick this work path, and now in my layers, let's see, did it save it? Okay, it's there. So let's go ahead and just create some funky gradient. We can do this by just picking random colors. So in this instance, let's just take an airbrush and we'll blend some colors together. Just a nice big airbrush. So just a couple hits here and there. This is kind of what I had in mind in my head. And I just realized I did that on the background layer. Oh no. So let's cut that out. I'm gonna copy this, head back to our sketch here. Okay, now I have this funky wavelength. So I want to transform this so that it feels like it's vertical on the ground. So I'm gonna drag this. Actually, it looks like I need a little bit more room. Maybe. Yeah, I probably need some more room here. So let's drag this down. Okay, don't crash. In fact, let me save this. Gramophone. Save that. All right, so now let's transform this. And it's really easy. If you sketch the line on the ground, you kind of know where the perspective is. And immediately, for example, here, you can see that the transform box is not coinciding with the shape of the gramophone. So I'm gonna drag this corner up so that now this top line and the bottom line are kind of in perspective. And if I want to change the size, I can just scale that down, play with it like so. And I want to actually have a few of these layered. Let me think of the best way to do this. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna have a few of these layered. So scale this back like so, put that behind that one, and then let's paste another one here. But if we invert the colors, would that work? No, but we can do a hue shift. So hue, saturation, brightness. I'll just change the hue, and then let's place this one a little further back like so, and then move this down. Did I flip it? No, I was gonna flip it. That's what I was gonna do. So flip horizontal, and now we can transform. Place this here like another layer. So it's almost like this layered projection of music on the ground here. Can scale this down as well. All right, so we've got our waveforms on our little record. And let's see, what do I want to do here? I do want to create a reflection. I'll do that. At least maybe a hint of some color. I gotta fix this one. Just erase a little bit of it. And now these layers, let's see, 39. Okay, so these are my waveforms. I've just now grouped them together. At least I think I did. Okay, that was weird. Something is weird with my layers. It's not showing any groups. Okay, there we go. I don't know what that was. What is this? That is turn layer filtering on or off. Okay. All right, so these three, I want to play with the opacity so they all kind of blend and look translucent. All right, just playing with it there. And now let's go ahead and kind of filter through. So here where we have these projection points or peaks, maybe it's coming from this box, this light box. I'm just gonna pick some color here and start to add, you know, some sort of filtered effect from our emitter. Just on different layers, different colors that might be part of this. All right, just kind of layering it all together. And maybe one more, just for this far corner here. And how about we do, let's see, we'll just do another blue. All right, so these effect layers, let's see. Okay, so these effect layers, we can play with the blending mode as well as the, yeah, that's cool. As well as the opacity. I do have my sketch layer that had these lines, so I want to take that out since we don't really need that. Hopefully this is up to your expectations, Svetlana. Thank you for the suggestion. There's one or two glaring things I need to fix, and then I think we're done. So we're gonna wrap up in a bit, and if you guys have any shout outs you want to make, that kind of thing, let me know. You guys are here supporting me. I'm happy to support whatever creative passion you have. Give it a call out, whatever. Okay, I'm not sure what this dot is. There's like a weird dot. All right, let's try that one more time. Scale down, scale wide. We'll rotate, move, Scale again, a little wider. Just want like a little bit of a fade. Oh, it's the mask. That's what it is. Okay. That's what it is. All right, well, I'm not gonna monkey with it too much. Not too much. All right, maybe something like that. Yeah, something a little different, Matt. Just playing around. So a couple final effects here. I'll use my stencil for this. Let's see, where are you? Pencils, clean stencil. There we go. It's really giant because of the file size. So here, I'm just gonna kind of hit this emitter with a couple little colors. And let's change this to, I think it's color dodge, I believe. And also, we'll start to airbrush, or I will, start to airbrush a little bit. Like so. Just add a little effect there. And I also want to just make sure I catch some highlights. So right here, for example, where we have this part line. Maybe there's a little logo here or something. Yeah, those highlights are what's gonna make your edges kind of pop. You can see that on the side as well, just in that dark area. Now it feels like two separate parts. Of course, you want to use that somewhat judiciously. All right. Okay, guys, that's looking pretty good. One last touch here. Because I love spackle texture, speckle. I'm gonna add a little bit of texture to this. We'll drop the opacity on this so low, but kind of helps this not feel so flat. Let's drop the opacity back. All right, so you can drop that back. You could apply a Gaussian blur if you want. Different ways to do it, but just a subtle way for me to add some texture to my sketches. This would probably show up better on a darker background. I wonder if I should, you know, if I made a new layer and I threw that on the back and then just hit it with a gradient. I mean, it shows up better, but I need to do a lot of work to kind of clean that up. If you see what I mean. I'm gonna leave it light. I'm gonna leave it light for now. All right, guys. Well, thank you. Let's do a quick recap review here. So we had a submission from Svetlana, wanted to see some sort of gramophone type device. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed that presentation. Once again, if you liked it, share, give it a like and a subscribe, but be sure to hit that bell and turn on alerts. Come find me on the socials. I'm at sketchaday.com on Instagram or at Daily Sketches on Twitter, and I'm super easy to find on Facebook. Well, that's it for today, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Sketchaday.